The dark side of AI. When technology crosses the line. Imagine waking up to discover that artificial intelligence has created explicit videos of you without your permission, and millions of people have already seen them. This isn't science fiction. This is exactly what happened to Taylor Swift, and it's happening right now to countless others. What if I told you that the world's richest person, Elon Musk, owns AI software that's being accused of deliberately creating these disturbing deepfakes? What if I told you this technology is now available for free to anyone, including children, with virtually no safeguards? We're going to uncover a scandal that exposes the dark underbelly of AI development, where billion-dollar companies prioritize innovation over human dignity. This story will change how you think about every photo and video you see online, because here's the terrifying truth. We've entered an era where you literally cannot trust your own eyes. Picture this scene unfolding in August 2025. Legal experts around the world are raising urgent alarms about Elon Musk's AI software called Grok Imagine. But this isn't a story about market competition or impressive technical capabilities. No, this is something far more sinister. This is about the alleged creation of inappropriate, non-consensual, deepfake content featuring one of the world's most beloved entertainers, Taylor Swift. Let me walk you through this disturbing revelation, step by careful step. Claire McGlynn stands as one of the most respected voices in the fight against online sexual abuse. For years, she has dedicated her life to protecting victims and holding perpetrators accountable. When someone like McGlynn speaks, the world listens. And what she had to say about Grok Imagine sent shockwaves through the legal community. She made a startling accusation that would change everything. McGlynn claimed that this AI system was willfully and deliberately creating explicit content that users hadn't even requested. Think about the implications of that statement for a moment. We're not talking about users typing in inappropriate requests and getting inappropriate results. We're talking about an AI system that, according to experts, was generating illegal pornographic deepfake videos entirely on its own initiative. These aren't just any videos. These are sophisticated pieces of fake content that appear to show real people in compromising situations they never participated in. A technology has become so advanced that these fabricated videos can fool even trained observers. But here's what makes McGlynn's accusation particularly chilling. She stated that this misogyny is not accidental or the result of negligence, but deliberate. Let that sink in for a moment. We're not discussing a technical glitch or an unintended consequence of rapid development. According to these legal experts, we're looking at technology that may have been programmed with inherent biases specifically designed to target and harm women. Now, you might find yourself wondering whether this represents the first time something like this has happened to Taylor Swift. Unfortunately, the answer tells an even darker story. Let me take you back to January 2024, a time that would mark a turning point in how we think about digital privacy and consent. Sexualized deepfakes featuring Swift's face began spreading across social media platforms like wildfire. The primary platforms for this distribution were X, formerly known as Twitter, and Telegram. These weren't isolated incidents shared among small groups. These images received millions upon millions of views before they were finally taken down. Try to imagine for just a moment what this experience must feel like. Picture being one of the most recognizable faces on the planet, knowing that your image is being stolen, manipulated, and distributed without your permission or knowledge. Consider the violation that extends far beyond the digital realm. This isn't just about fake pictures on the internet. This is about psychological trauma that affects personal relationships, professional reputation, and mental health in ways we're only beginning to understand. The numbers surrounding this crisis are nothing short of staggering. One particular image of Taylor Swift was viewed 47 million times before it was finally removed from circulation. 47 million views. To put that into perspective, that's more than the entire population of South Korea seeing falsified, inappropriate content featuring someone who never consented to its creation. That's more people than live in all of Canada witnessing a digital violation. These aren't just statistics. These represent real human beings consuming content that was created through technological abuse. Before we dive deeper into this troubling story, let's take a step back and understand exactly what we're dealing with. What precisely is a deepfake? In the simplest possible terms, think of it as digital identity theft taken to its most extreme and sophisticated form. Imagine you're scrolling through social media and you come across what appears to be a video of your favorite celebrity saying or doing something shocking. The video looks completely authentic. The lighting is perfect. The facial expressions match exactly what you'd expect. The voice sounds identical to recordings you've heard before. But here's the terrifying reality. None of it actually happened. Deepfake technology represents one of the most powerful and dangerous applications of artificial intelligence that we've ever seen. This technology uses machine learning algorithms to overlay one person's face and voice onto another person's body, creating content that can fool even sophisticated detection systems. The results can be so convincing that they're virtually indistinguishable from authentic footage to the untrained eye. Here's where the technology becomes particularly sophisticated and consequently particularly dangerous. Unlike traditional photo editing programs like Photoshop, where human operators must manually manipulate every aspect of an image, deepfake software operates with frightening autonomy. These systems learn automatically by studying vast databases of photographs and videos. They analyze thousands upon thousands of images of a target person, examining facial movements, expressions, speaking patterns, and even subtle mannerisms that most of us would never consciously notice. Let me provide you with a concrete example that illustrates just how powerful this technology has become. Suppose someone wanted to create a deepfake video of Michael Jackson, the legendary performer who passed away years ago. They would begin by feeding the AI system numerous videos and photographs of Jackson from throughout his career. The software would then analyze every detail: the way his eyebrows moved when he smiled, the exact curve of his lips when he spoke, the precise angle of his head when he laughed, even the way shadows fell across his face under different lighting conditions. The technology has advanced to the point where these fabricated videos can include not just visual elements, but also synthesized speech that perfectly mimics the target person's voice patterns and speaking style. We find ourselves living in an era that previous generations could never have imagined. We've reached a point where seeing truly is no longer believing. The fundamental assumption that has guided human communication for thousands of years, the belief that visual evidence represents reality, has been shattered by lines of computer code. Now, let's turn our attention to the specific technology sitting at the center of this current controversy. Grok Imagine represents Elon Musk's entry into the AI-generated content market. This software possesses the capability to generate both static images and dynamic videos using artificial intelligence. The story of how this technology became widely available reveals important insights into how Silicon Valley operates and makes decisions that affect millions of people worldwide. Originally, Grok Imagine was exclusively available to paying subscribers. Users had to maintain active premium accounts to access these powerful content generation features. However, everything changed when OpenAI released their highly anticipated ChatGPT-5 model to the public. In what appears to have been a competitive response designed to maintain market position, Musk made the decision to offer Grok Imagine completely free to all users, regardless of their subscription status. The software offers users several different creative modes, each with its own personality and capabilities. These modes carry names that seem almost innocuous: normal, fun, custom. But there's one mode that carries a name that should have raised immediate red flags: spicy. The functionality appears straightforward enough. Users can upload an image to the system, and the chatbot will convert that static image into a dynamic video. On the surface, this sounds like harmless creative technology that could be used for artistic projects, social media content, or entertainment purposes. However, as we're discovering through this controversy, the implications extend far beyond innocent creative applications. According to detailed reports from The Verge, a respected technology publication, Grok Imagine has been producing uncensored content featuring Taylor Swift without implementing proper safeguards or content filters. But the problems don't stop there. Even more concerning than the content generation itself is the allegation that the software lacks adequate age verification systems. This becomes particularly troubling when you consider that robust age verification became legally mandatory in July 2025. Think carefully about what this means. We have incredibly powerful AI technology capable of creating convincing fake videos. This technology is now available completely free to anyone with an internet connection. And according to these reports, the system may not have proper mechanisms in place to prevent children from accessing and using these capabilities. The analogy that comes to mind is both simple and terrifying. It's like handing someone the keys to a high-performance sports car without first checking whether they possess a valid driver's license, have completed driver's education, or even understand basic traffic laws. We're essentially distributing powerful tools without implementing corresponding safeguards or responsibilities. This controversy raises profound and unsettling questions about the fundamental nature of AI development in our modern world. Professor Claire McLean, whose expertise we discussed earlier, suggests that the creation of this type of content points to what she calls misogynistic bias, built directly into many artificial intelligence technologies. This observation forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. This problem extends far beyond one application or one company. We're looking at systemic issues in how we design, develop, and deploy artificial intelligence systems throughout our society. Consider this critical point carefully. If AI systems learn from data that reflects historical biases, inequalities, and prejudices, then these systems will inevitably perpetuate and potentially amplify those same problematic patterns. When development teams lack diversity in perspective, background, and experience, when they operate without rigorous ethical oversight, when they prioritize rapid deployment over careful consideration of consequences, the resulting technology may inherently reflect and magnify existing societal problems. The targeting of women, particularly high-profile women like Taylor Swift, for this type of technological abuse doesn't happen in a vacuum. It reflects deeper, more troubling issues about how women are objectified in our society and how technology can be weaponized to perpetuate harassment, abuse, and violation. These patterns didn't begin with AI, but artificial intelligence has provided new tools and new scale for old forms of harm. Fortunately, this story isn't entirely one of unchecked technological abuse. People are fighting back, and their efforts are beginning to show results. Following the 2024 incident involving Taylor Swift deepfakes, politicians in the United States began calling for comprehensive new legislation specifically designed to criminalize the creation and distribution of non-consensual deepfake images and videos. Representative Joe Morell emerged as one of the most vocal advocates for stronger legal protections. He characterized the spread of deepfake content as horrifying, and his assessment reflects the growing bipartisan recognition that existing legal frameworks are wholly inadequate to address the challenges posed by this technology. The legislative response represents an important first step, but as we'll discuss, it may not be sufficient on its own. The platform X, where much of the initial distribution occurred, did eventually take action in response to the crisis. Company representatives stated that they were actively removing the offending images and taking what they described as appropriate action against the accounts responsible for creating and spreading the content. They also implemented new monitoring systems designed to identify and address future violations more quickly than had been possible during the initial incident. However, critics argue that these reactive measures, while better than nothing, fall far short of what's actually needed to address the scope and scale of this problem. Professor McGlynn offered a particularly pointed critique when she observed that platforms like X possessed the technical capability and resources to prevent these violations from occurring in the first place, but they deliberately chose not to implement such preventive measures. This observation raises a fundamental question that goes to the heart of corporate responsibility in the digital age. Are we satisfied with playing an endless game of technological whack-a-mole, constantly responding to new forms of abuse after they've already caused harm? Or should we demand that technology companies implement proactive safeguards designed to prevent these violations from occurring in the first place? Behind all of our technical discussions, legal debates, and policy arguments, we must never lose sight of the human beings who are affected by this technology. Every deepfake created without consent has a victim. Every fake video distributed without permission represents someone whose image, identity, and dignity have been stolen and misused for purposes they never authorized. For public figures like Taylor Swift, the violation becomes public and widespread, affecting not just them personally, but also their families, friends, and professional relationships. But we must understand that deepfake abuse doesn't exclusively target celebrities or public figures. Ordinary people from all walks of life have found themselves victimized by this technology. Students discover fake videos of themselves circulating among classmates. Professionals find their careers threatened by fabricated content. Private individuals watch helplessly as their images are stolen and misused in ways they never could have imagined. The psychological trauma associated with this type of technological abuse can be absolutely devastating. Victims report feeling violated in ways that are difficult to put into words. The impact extends far beyond the digital realm, affecting real-world relationships, career prospects, and mental health. Many victims describe feelings of helplessness and vulnerability that persist long after the fake content has been removed from public circulation. Try to imagine discovering that someone has created convincing fake videos showing you in compromising situations and distributed them across the internet. Picture the horror of knowing that friends, family members, colleagues, and strangers have potentially seen content that appears to be authentic but is entirely fabricated. Consider the challenge of trying to convince people that what they've seen isn't real, especially when the technology has become sophisticated enough to fool even careful observers. This represents the daily reality for many victims of deepfake abuse. It's a form of technological violence that we're only beginning to understand and address. Social media platforms continue to buzz with discussions about AI-generated content, and these conversations reveal the complex, often contradictory feelings that people harbor about these technological developments. The range of opinions reflects our collective struggle to understand and adapt to rapidly evolving capabilities that seem to outpace our ability to govern them responsibly. One social media user, referencing broadcaster Paul Harvey's famous "If I Were the Devil" speech from decades past, warned about what they saw as moral decay facilitated and accelerated by modern technology. This user questioned whether we're recognizing these dangers quickly enough to change course before irreparable harm is done to the fabric of our society. On the other side of the conversation, another user offered a more optimistic perspective on these developments. They suggested that as AI-generated content becomes increasingly ubiquitous and commonplace, authentically human-created content will become more valuable and sought after. This viewpoint imagines a future where human creativity and authenticity represent premium commodities in a world flooded with artificial content. These contrasting perspectives illustrate our collective struggle to understand and adapt to technological changes that seem to be happening faster than our ability to fully comprehend their implications. We find ourselves simultaneously fascinated by AI capabilities and terrified by the potential for misuse and abuse. So where do we go from here? The controversy surrounding Grok Imagine and Taylor Swift deepfakes represents far more than just one incident involving one technology or one company. This situation serves as a symptom of a much larger challenge that our society must confront. How do we harness the incredible potential of artificial intelligence while simultaneously protecting fundamental human dignity and rights? First and foremost, we need robust legal frameworks that can keep pace with rapid technological development. Laws specifically criminalizing non-consensual deepfake creation and distribution represent an important first step, but we need comprehensive regulatory approaches that address prevention rather than just punishment after harm has already occurred. Second, we need the technology industry to embrace proactive responsibility rather than reactive damage control. This means building ethical considerations into AI development from the very beginning, not as an afterthought or add-on feature. It means assembling diverse development teams that bring different perspectives and experiences to the design process. It means implementing rigorous testing protocols specifically designed to identify potential biases and harmful applications before systems are deployed publicly. Third, we need widespread education and awareness programs that help people understand how this technology works, how to identify potentially fake content, and how to protect themselves in an increasingly complex digital landscape. Digital literacy has become as important as traditional literacy in our modern world. As we reach the end of our exploration today, I want you to consider the broader implications of everything we've discussed. The Taylor Swift deepfake controversy isn't just about one celebrity or one AI system or one company's business decisions. This situation serves as a mirror, reflecting our values, our biases, and our choices as a society that's developing and deploying increasingly powerful technologies. We stand at a crossroads that will define the future of human-AI interaction. Artificial intelligence possesses tremendous potential to solve some of humanity's greatest challenges. AI could help us address climate change, cure diseases, expand educational opportunities, and create new forms of art and entertainment that we can barely imagine today. But this same technology also possesses the potential to amplify our worst tendencies and create entirely new forms of harm that previous generations never had to confront. The fundamental question isn't whether we should abandon AI development entirely. That ship sailed years ago, and the global competition to develop more powerful AI capabilities continues to accelerate regardless of any individual nation's or company's choices. The real question is how we'll choose to shape this technology's development and deployment. Will we create artificial intelligence systems that reflect the best of human values: respect, dignity, equality, and justice? Or will we allow our existing biases, blind spots, and prejudices to be magnified and automated through powerful new technological systems? As I always remind viewers, technology is never truly neutral. Every AI system is shaped by the people who create it, the data used to train it, and the regulatory systems that govern its use. The Taylor Swift deepfake controversy serves as a crucial reminder that we all have roles to play in shaping the future of artificial intelligence. Whether you work as a developer, serve as a policymaker, teach in educational institutions, or simply use social media platforms as part of your daily life, your voice matters in this conversation. We can demand better practices from technology companies. We can support legislation that protects potential victims. We can educate ourselves and others about these critical issues. The future of artificial intelligence isn't predetermined by technological inevitability. It represents a choice that we make collectively every day through our actions, our demands, and the values we choose to prioritize. Let's choose to build a digital world that enhances human dignity rather than undermining it. Thank you for joining me on today's journey through this complex and critically important topic. If this discussion has resonated with you, please share it with others who might benefit from understanding these issues. Your engagement helps ensure that these crucial conversations reach the people who need to hear them. Remember, in a world increasingly shaped by artificial intelligence, our human values become more precious than ever before. Let's commit to protecting them. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and above all, stay human.